Hi, my name is Tim Kashani. I am from the ICS class of 1986. Stayed a couple more years and got my MBA. And welcome to the 5th annual Hall of Fame celebration for ICS and engineering, year number 5. I brought a little prop for tonight. Some of you in the ICS program are probably getting the chills right now. This was the first book they gave you in ICS 1B, and it's called Problem Solving Using Pascal. And we were told that that is the language that everybody was going to be using in the future, a procedural level driven language, which those of you probably know, it didn't even keep using it by the time I graduated, which was 4 years later. But the key part here is the problem solving, because most of the stuff we learned in school as far as the nuts and bolts and compiler writing or programming, or at that time artificial intelligence, was a language called Lisp, which was cruel to name it that because it was almost impossible to say. But we learned about what AI was, and we learned most importantly how to solve problems. And that's what's brought me here today, is I'm solving a problem, standing up here talking for you. Now, it's kind of a coming home moment for myself and my wife, Pamela, in that we've been on the board of the Science Center when it went through its change, when Joe Adams came over to take over and turn it into the new Science Center that you see that it is today, or the Discovery Cube. So we have a big thank you for them, and it's exciting for us to see what this theater, which is only 3 years old, has become. And like all good computer science majors, I now produce on Broadway and make films, because that's kind of how your life goes. Did the tech company for many years and have joined the two worlds together. And people say, well, how can you direct a film after writing programs for the Financial Institute? And I say it's the same thing. It's solving problems. You take an idea and you turn it into something, and you get people to follow a vision, and you just get out of the way and navigate and help it go the way that it is. And that's what's so cool about science in general and being in this room. And coming full circle, for those of you that happen to be around in November and December, my wife Pamela and I are writing a show for the Science Center that's going to be their holiday musical. Yes. So very soon on that big cube, you will see it, and somewhere we will embed the little anteater. It will be hidden. It will be an Easter egg in the component. Pamela will sing, not me. Oh, Mario's, yes, and we'll get Greg back, and we'll do a barbershop quartet. We'll get a bunch of people in here and do that. But tonight is about celebrating an amazing group of people that have been nominated and welcomed into the Hall of Fame. And the first thing I want to do is just give you a few background facts about what's happened. The UCI, first of all, this is homecoming weekend, so if you have some time, make sure that you head out to Aldridge Park tomorrow from 2 to 6 p.m., and then you can go to the UCI men's basketball game, and you can celebrate and rejoice in all the time that you've had. It's always fun to go back. In fact, a few years ago, I was invited to give the commencement speech, and it was an amazing moment, and I met all the students as they were graduating, and when you walk back on campus, you feel like you are 18, 19, 20 years old again, until you take a picture and walk by a mirror. And I heard later that's why Vegas has no mirrors, because everybody thinks they're a superstar. You really don't want to see yourself. So then you avoid the mirrors, but then you come back and you see, wow, luckily you forget anything that was bad, and you remember the good memories, and you look at a time in your life and you say, wow, that was really cool, and it's brought me here today. So make sure you go out there and celebrate. Now, our guests tonight in this room, we have faculty members, alumni, dean leaderships councils, and several inductees from the prior years. So those of you that have been brought into the Engineering and ICS Hall of Fame, please stand up so we can acknowledge you. The event continues to grow. We have an incredible turnout of over 300 people here tonight to celebrate and support the next class. As you all know, UCI has embarked on a campaign and continuing to grow. The school, the entire campus has grown massively since most of us in the gray hair generation have gone. And this year on the campaign, it's a complete school-wide, and the School of Engineering and the School of Information and Computer Science are creating this campaign to help more and more students achieve their dream and hopefully do what we do. So what does the growth? Let's get into some of the statistics, because we are an engineering school and a computer science school, and you can't do a speech without giving some numbers or the stage explodes. It's no surprise that UCI was ranked #1 for in-state freshman applications and #2 among all UC campuses for the fall of 2020. Nice. It gets better. UCI was the top choice for first-generation college students and those from low-income families and underrepresented group, also for the second consecutive year in a row. The number of graduate and undergraduate applications for admissions to engineering and ICS is at an all-time high, over 18,000 applications for the fall of the 2020 admission. There were only 10,000 people on the campus when I went to school. Now 18,000 people want to get in. And I have a 17-year-old that wants to get in. So these statistics that I'm up here saying, yeah, this is great, kind of is not great for him. So it's a moment I'm having up here. Now, selectively, we're also at a record high with 1,000 new students in ICS and 4,000 new and continuing students in engineering who entered in the fall of 2019. On the faculty front, the growth has continued with over 250 faculty members representing both schools, and the growth in the numbers are only expected to continue. Now, getting to the financial side of it, one of the things that many of the research universities are looking at is where is the money going and how is it being used? The research expenditures are also at a high. Engineering accounting for $82.1 million in research expenditures, and ICS accounting for over $20 million. Wow, it's a lot of money going to good things. All right, from a logistical standpoint, tonight's event, we have our social media growth going on as it always does, and with Alumni Weekend, you want to have that going too. So the all-important hashtag is hashtag UCIHOF. Now, I know you're doing the math. What does HOF stand for? Help a freshman, help Hall of Fame, hashtag UCIHOF. And now, for the real celebrities of the evening, I'd like to start with our first dean that I'd like to welcome up to the stage. Become a good friend and relatively new to the UC system, but since the first day that we've shaken hands, it feels like a lifelong friendship. So I'd love to please welcome up to the stage Marius Papaethemiou. And that is the first time I have not called him Dean Marius. I practiced. Did I do okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. So you will be standing there all the time? Is that what's happening?
Kristen told me to do.
Okay. Don't go. You can tell. Tim doesn't need a script. I do need a script. But nevertheless, I'm known for going off script, so don't be surprised down the road. I'm Marius Papaethemiou. I'm the Dean for the Donald Brent School of Information and Computer Sciences. Thank you to all our guests for joining us here in this evening of celebration. This is the 5th annual Alumni Hall of Fame. Our two schools, engineering and ICS, have had an increasingly collaborative and fruitful relationship for the past several years. Greg and I managed to continue that, and I look forward to many more future shared activities to come. If you haven't been on our campus recently, make sure you show up tomorrow. One of the most visible displays of our collaboration can be seen in the new interdisciplinary science and engineering building, which is coming off the ground for the past 18 months now, just west of the ICS building, Donald Brand Hall. So this is a real picture of this building. It's not an architect's rendering. It was taken yesterday. I can see the cranes moving stuff up and down. I can see the building from my window, basically. And as of 2 days ago, and I want to make sure Greg is hearing this. Greg, are you here somewhere? I cannot see you. As of 2 days ago, I know that I'm getting an office on the 6th floor, and half the building, floors 4, 5, and 6 are going to ICS, right? Is that right? So this building is slated for completion in fall of 2020, so less than a year away. Our faculty, students, and staff will work together to undertake interdisciplinary projects in line with 2 major themes: biomedicine for human health and energy and the environment. Graduate students from all 3 schools will work together in labs, offices, and meeting rooms. Computer science obviously plays a central role in the transformation of our daily lives. And through the new building, ICS will not only be there virtually, but it will be there physically in the center of all this activity, surrounded by physicists, chemists, engineers, mathematicians. It's a long list. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I look forward to all of the research activities that will occur in the new building. It's really, really exciting. Many examples of the collaboration that we have with engineering, with physical sciences, with other schools on campus. Just one recent example that I will mention is a team of ICS and engineering researchers, Tirtha Banerjee, Nalini Venkata Subramanian, Sharad Mehrotra. They raised almost $4 million of funding for a project that will use computer science and engineering to develop models and technologies to help combat the growing wildfire risk in California, which is something that we all care about. So while we keep an eye on the future, we're here to celebrate the past and the current achievements of our alums. I'm really pleased to start inducting the following 4 outstanding alumni who comprise the 5th cohort of inductees to the ICS Hall of Fame for 2020. So here's the protocol. I will ask the 4 honorees to join me on the stage one at a time, not all 4 of you, one at a time. As I call your names, I'm reading exactly what I'm being told to read here. As I call your names, please come up to the stage. Be careful with the steps. Some of them are 10 inches high, some others are 9 inches high. I think one is 11, so be careful. I'm giving you a fair warning. And there's a safety net. Kristen is a safety net. So we're all in good hands. So as I call your name, please come up to the stage, and I will be reading a few things and giving you your awards. So let me go down our list of 4 inductees. Our first inductee is Greg Bolser. Greg. While Greg is making his way on the stage, let me read a few things about his accomplishments. Greg Bolser earned his PhD and BS from the Donald Brand School of Information and Computer Sciences. He also earned an MS from USC, but you can see what happened, right? He got his bachelor's, he went up north, and then he saw the light, and he came down south. He started his career working for Professor Richard Taylor, who was his PhD advisor, and he's with us in the audience. I cannot see with all the lights, please. Working as a DARPA-funded program in ICS after being introduced to software engineering through an undergraduate project course taught at the time by Professor Deborah Richardson. In 2005, Greg and Cryptanet co-founder Clay Cover, another ICS alum, created, who is out there too, I didn't know that. Clay, welcome. They created the world's first practical blockchain. And Cryptanet launched its first product. You should have turned that into a Bitcoin thing, right? You were just 13 years ahead of the curve. And Cryptanet launched its first product called PayCloud as the first and only PayPal micropayments partner. Today, Greg has been serving as the Chief Data Officer at Bitvor Corporation since 2018. He's using vast artificial intelligence and computing resources. Bitvor processes cleans, there was a period there. Bitwar processes, cleans, and analyzes 100% of the world's English business news on a daily basis. It has been recognized twice as one of Orange County's best tech startups by the Tech Tribune 2 years in a row. Greg has received numerous awards, including UC Irvine's Lodge and Laurel's Distinguished Alumnus Award. Greg, congratulations. What's your step? Next, I would like to recognize Ersin Uzun. Ersin? Ersin received his PhD under Professor Gene Sudik in computer science.
He's there.
He is sitting there. Maybe he's standing, I cannot see. An MS from the Donald Brand School of Information and Computer Sciences. His focus has been on network security and applied cryptography. As an active member of the security research community, Ersin has contributed to more than 100 influential patents and publications with over 5,000 citations. No kidding. Earlier in his career, Ersin co-founded Identilect Technologies in Aliso Viejo and architected its security products as an entrepreneur. Today, Ersin is the Vice President of R&D at Palo Alto Research Center and the Global Head of IoT Ventures. IoT is Internet of Things, which is responsible for creating and incubating new Internet of Things businesses for the Xerox Holding Company. He has served in the program committees of many prestigious security conferences, as well as the scientific advisory and review boards of the US National Science Foundation, Academy of Finland, Research Council of Canada, and Scientific Research Council of Turkey. Ersin, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I welcome our next inductee, Rosalva Gallardo Valencia. Rosalva received her PhD under Susan Sim, who is also in the audience, and MS in Information and Computer Sciences from the Donald Brand School of Information and Computer Sciences. She received her bachelor's degree in informatics from the Pontifical Catholic University of Peru. Today, she is a senior program manager at Google in Silicon Valley, where she leads global programs to advocate for both strategic third-party software developers and Google developer products. She has co-authored the book Source Code: Seeking on the Web, a survey of empirical studies and tools, and co-edited Finding Source Code on the Web for Remix and Reuse. Rosalva is committed to empowering women and Latinas to be leaders in the field of computing. She led the Google.org collaboration with Laboratoria, which continues to transform tech education for women in Latin America. You can look it up on Google. It's really an exciting initiative. In addition, she was selected to represent Google in the Tecnológicas TV campaign to inspire Latinas to pursue careers in technology. Rosalva also recently funded a new graduate fellowship for ICS PhD students studying software engineering. The first award recipient, Adriana Mesa Soria, is in the audience with us tonight. Rosalva, congratulations. Our final inductee from the Brand School of Information and Computer Sciences is David Wood. Thank you, team. David could not be here this evening, so his close friend and classmate, our MC, Tim Kasani, it's all part of a master plan, a grand design. Tim Kasani will accept the award on David's behalf. So, Tim, you have to go around and stand on my left. Yes, that's how it goes. David's patterns and one of his children, I believe, are here to honor his induction. May I ask you to stand and the audience to join me in a round of applause to honor his induction. David graduated from UCI's Donald Brent School of Information and Computer Sciences with a bachelor's in ICS and earned his MBA from the University of Washington Foster School of Business. David has spent much of his career developing a wide range of Microsoft products, including early versions of Microsoft Word and Excel, and portions of Microsoft's OS/2 and Windows NT operating systems. All these things mean a lot of things for some of us. He also led the design team that built the first email client in Windows 95 and Exchange Server, which evolved into Microsoft Outlook. After leaving Microsoft, David entered into management consulting roles for tech companies and larger clients, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation, the Wallace Foundation, Kaiser Permanente, and Sony Corporation. Today, David is CEO of Eventeen, which he founded in 2016. Eventeen is a software company that creates applications to streamline the organization and management of group events. In his copious spare time, David serves on the ICS Leadership Council, volunteers weekly for a local scout troop, and serves on the board of the Western LA County Council for Scouts BSA. David, congratulations. Team, thank you for accepting the award. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to enter David's head and replace Tim's head on the picture, and it will look perfectly real. Well, let's congratulate this year's ICS inductees once again. Please give them a round of applause. I would now like to invite Dean Washington to the stage. Greg.
I have, for me, a little bit of sad news. For those of you that haven't heard, our illustrious Dean Washington, this will be his last Engineering Hall of Fame speech. Come on up, come on up, come on up. He is taking the role of president. Well, not of the United States yet, but if he ever runs, he has my vote, and I'll be your campaign manager. But of George Mason University, I just have one little story to tell about you. My wife, Pamela, and I, we've hosted Dean Washington and Dean Marios in New York for an alumni event, and he just brings such joy wherever state he's in. And I was talking to an older alumni who did not know you, and he said, that's really the dean of engineering? And I said, yeah. Wow, he's got such a good personality. How did... So please, everybody, let's thank him for all of the wonderful things he's brought to the university.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Thank you, Tim. Thank you. I'm always excited to come to this event. This is one of my favorites, and you know, I tell it to our alum all the time, and I actually tell it to our current students. You know, the value of the UCI degree. You know, whether that degree's in ICS, whether that degree's in engineering, the value of that degree has never been worth more than it is today. That's the truth. And here's the point. The reason it is worth so much, the reason it is so highly valued and highly coveted today, the reason why there are all of these great accolades about our campus is really because of the success of the individuals in this room. And I want to give you all, please give yourselves a round of applause. So at UCI, we believe that true progress is made when different perspectives come together to advance our understanding of the world around us. You know, and that has been shown to bear fruit. Just recently, we were, New York Times donated UCI, or highlighted UCI as being the #1 university for doing the most for the American dream. And that could not have happened. When you talk about doing the most for the American dream, you're talking about people who start with little and graduate with much. And we know the majors on campus where that happens. And I can tell you the two most successful are the ones sitting in this room. So give yourselves a round of applause on that one. We also believe that true progress is made when different perspectives come together to advance our understanding of the world around us. And guided by this belief, about 4 or 5 years ago, we established the Office of Access and Inclusion. And that office was actually established by our alum, who came together on a committee and said, you all need to be doing more in this community, and we want to help you. And so we established this office, and it has done remarkably well. Our outreach and engagement programs touch somewhere in the neighborhood where somebody from our staff touches about 6,500 kids from K through 12, actually from K through community college, all over this great state. And that's a direct touch, but we also touch about 250 to 300 teachers, which means that when you talk about the people who we indirectly engage, that number is over 100,000 students a year. And that's one of the reasons why so many of them want to come here when they graduate. And so this program has been doing great. As a result of that, our gender diversity has increased dramatically. And in engineering, it has increased 39% rise in female enrollment. In ICS, we have a 50% jump in female enrollment. In the same time period, our enrollment of underrepresented students increased as well, 29% in engineering, and again, 50% in information and computer sciences. Our schools have also implemented faculty recruitment programs that are diversifying both of our faculty. And what we've discovered is this, that a natural outcome of inclusive excellence is an increase in the creative collaborations and innovative solutions, one of which you just heard Mario's talk about a few minutes ago. And in fact, our research productivity between both programs is at the highest level that it has ever been in our history. And so we're just doing extraordinarily well, and we hope to keep that going. Now, it's time to turn our attention to the individuals that will be the inductees for the Engineering 2020 Hall of Fame inductees. Our first individuals, as I call your name, please start coming forward. I'll read a little bit about you. The first one is Amit Shah, 1989 electrical engineering. Amit received his BSEE from Maharaja Surai, I'm going to screw this up, Sayajiro University in Baroda, and then came to UCI to do graduate work. His 20-year career in investing focuses on early-stage investments in creating globally renowned businesses where technology innovation and markets intersect. He targets diverse business sectors, including materials-related technologies, construction, semiconductors, advanced software solutions, and systems. Entrepreneurship is in Amit's blood. Prior to establishing his current company, Artemin Ventures, he founded a company, ZiteNet, which was acquired by Cabletron, then co-founded PipeLinks with another of tonight's honorees, Amish Devatia. PipeLinks was acquired by Cisco. Amit has also shared his talents to help other startups succeed, and he's created countless millionaires. He served as general partner of Endelion Capital, a seed venture firm in Menlo Park, California. He currently sits on the boards of Ultrasense, Tonbo Imaging, and Niron Magnetics. Amit. Our next inductee is Aziz Hashim. Aziz graduated with honors in 1988 with his BS in electrical engineering. He founded NRD Holdings, a franchise development and holding company which started as a single location in Atlanta and blossomed and led Aziz to a global operating franchise of brands including Popeyes, KFC, Taco Bell, and Domino's Pizza. All right, good deal. Aziz is now founder and managing partner of NRD Capital, and after just 4 years of establishment has more than 700 restaurants under management. And he was named to Restaurant Business Magazine's 2018 Power 20 list. In 2018, he was named by the nation's Restaurant News as one of the 10 most influential leaders in the restaurant industry. Aziz created the NRD Foundation to support nonprofit and for-profit international organizations that create entrepreneurs, foster financial independence, and power academic research focused on franchise entrepreneurship. Aziz has now brought his electrical engineering degree full circle as he's nearing the launch of a new venture through optimization, data analytics, paired with his existing restaurant and franchise empire. Aziz. I keep forgetting to get to that. Next, we bring forward John Linnell, BS 1990, MS 1992 in electrical engineering. John received his BS in electrical engineering in 1990 and then went on to earn an MS in 1992. He has the distinction of being the 25th employee at Broadcom Corporation, where he began in 1995. And over the course of his 20 years, he served as an engineer manager, director of multiple product families, engineering teams, and ultimately transitioned to the position of senior director of strategic investments, where he facilitated the acquisition and integration of Provigent and Neurologic Microsystems. John is currently CEO and co-founder of, I want to say QXonics, which is a technology startup. His credits and experience working with a small team under direction of Professor Nader Bagazadi, and he credits Nader for his successful career accomplishments. During his time at UCI, John was a member of Kappa Sigma fraternity and Tau Beta Engineering Honor Society. He served as research assistant and teaching assistant during his time as a graduate student, and today he serves as a member of the UCI Alumni Association Board and the Engineering Dean Leadership Council. John also serves on the board of directors for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Orange County. John Linnell. Our next inductee is Amish Devatia. Amish moved, yes, please give a round of applause. Amish moved to the United States from India to pursue an MS degree in electrical engineering and graduated in 1989 with a concentration in performance analysis of communication networks. After 7 years of working experience, he began his entrepreneurial journey by co-founding PipeLinks with fellow inductee Amit Shah and serving as its chief technology officer. In 1988, when Cisco acquired PipeLinks, it led to Cisco's creation of the Optical Transport Business Unit. Amish went on to co-found Arohi Communications, a pioneer in the storage visualization space. When Arohi was acquired by Emulex, Amish became president and CEO of Lightwire, Inc., where he helped to transition that company from technology development to product development, which led to this company also being acquired by Cisco Systems. Today, Amish is co-founder and CEO of Baffle, Inc., a cybersecurity company that provides privacy-preserving analytic solutions for enterprise data stores. Amish's passion has led to mentoring young startups via his incubation venture Encarta, which helps to secure seed funding and provides business development guidance to less experienced entrepreneurs. Amish. And our final inductee tonight is Fernando Morales Wilhelm. Fernando graduated in 1989 with an MS in mechanical engineering. He has fond memories working closely with the faculty member, particularly Bill Siriano, Roger Rangel, who's here today. I think Roger's in the audience somewhere. Derek Dunn Rankin, and Dimitri Papamoshu. He enjoyed taking classes with Professor Saida Ogabashi and Scott Samuelson, and he played baseball with fellow graduate student and attendee Jack Brower. Where's Jack? I know Jack's here today too. It's not a surprise that after 5 years in industry in the Water and Sanitation Division of the Inter-American Development Bank in Washington, D.C., Fernando decided to return to the academic world. He is currently chair and professor of the Department of Atmospheric and Oceanic Sciences at the University of Maryland, where he also directs the Earth Systems Science Interdisciplinary Center. Prior to his appointment at UMD, he served on the faculty at Northeastern University, University of Miami, and Florida International University. Fernando's research interests are modeling of surface and groundwater systems, climate hydrology vegetation interactions, water quality, and modeling of the water energy food nexus. He has worked as a consultant in water resources in all 5 continents for over 20 years. And we look forward to him doing great things in the academic world for years to come. Fernando. This concludes the induction portion of the event. And for the next part of our program, we will be calling up 2 of our inductees to say a few words tonight. I invite our MC, Tim Kashani, to return to the podium.
Thank you. First person we'd like to come up is our own engineering. We'd like to hear from John Linnell. John, if you would please join us up here and share a few words, that would be... What's that? Oh, we're taking a picture right now. It is improvisation times. Well, I will let you know that after this, you can go ahead and check out the exhibits here at the Science Center up until 9:30. And if you listen very closely, you might hear my voice in an exhibit. And if you look very closely, you might find my wife Pamela heading up another one of the exhibits here at the Cube, the Discovery Cube. All right, you ready, John? Excellent. Come on up.
Thank you. Just getting situated up here. Thank you again. I hope Professor Bagherzadeh doesn't think that the only mention of him tonight will be in the bio. There'll be a few more upcoming comments with Professor Bagherzadeh. But first I'd like to begin by saying it's an honor to be recognized alongside the rest of this year's class, and congratulations to all of you for your tremendous accomplishments. I feel very privileged to be able to share a few words with you about my experience at UCI that impacted my path to being here tonight. First, it goes back to about 8 years old when I would, at that time, dreamed of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. The NFL Hall of Fame with a yellow jacket. Well, it turns out it's really hard to make the NFL Hall of Fame when you can't even make weight to play Pee Wee football. So how did I end up here? Typically, a Hall of Fame inductee has been influenced at a young age, and I was as well, by my dad, a career McDonnell Douglas engineer. He had the pocket protector, the slide rule, the Apple II computer, and he loved engineering jokes, including this one here from my dad that I discovered. This is called the Universal Digital Calculator. It's a 5-digit calculator, and it is version 5.0. It's phenomenal. Who wouldn't end up here after having a father like that? Of course, it takes more than just an engineering pedigree to be acknowledged for success and achievement. It is said that success is when hard work and opportunity meet. And I can see from the impressive bio list that we heard tonight from my fellow inductees that there was no shortage of hard work in their journeys tonight. And that was true for me as well. But what about opportunity? For me, I have long recognized that the unique opportunity and mentorship I had at UCI as a student was instrumental in preparing me for a career on the leading edge of technology. But making it through UCI engineering school wasn't exactly without challenges. I survived, although did not particularly enjoy, and maybe my other inductees had the same issue, survived without enjoying thermodynamics and physics, differential calculus, Schrodinger's equation in quantum mechanics, and the right-hand rule in electrodynamics, or electromagnetics, all before finally learning something really useful, like how to make LEDs behave like Thunderbird taillights on a breadboard in the lab, thanks to Professor Kurdahi in his class of Introduction to Digital Design. So digital systems, well, at that point, I guess you could say the lights really turned on for me. And that's what I really started to enjoy engineering school at UCI. I was about a little more than halfway through. So at that point, I began to focus on digital systems and computer architecture, and that was my engineering focus. This led me to the introduction to Professor Barghazadeh and his graduate research work on processors and VLSI design. Professor Barghazadeh recognized my newfound passion and was able to bring me in as an undergrad into his research group to work on his program. I was enjoying that research so much that I decided to try to get into graduate school to continue my research there under Professor Barghazadeh in the graduate program. Well, he looked at my GPA, which fortunately at that point was starting to look like the stock chart of a Silicon Valley unicorn firm, and that was helpful, but he said, you're still really going to need to do well on your GREs to get in. I don't know if you remember this, but I had to take the GREs, and I was working really hard to get a good score. Well, the scores came back. We met in his office. He didn't really have a lot to say about the scores. And I got the sense, and I'm quite sure that Professor Barghazadeh had some convincing to do to get me into his graduate program. But fortunately, he was able to do so and was able to open up a path for me to start work very shortly after my undergrad program, begin work in the graduate program under his leadership. So that group was a 5-member team, and we were working out of, I think, really a storage room that somehow Barghazadeh got a hold of, and we were on the first floor of the engineering tower. The storage room had a unplugged mainframe computer as a room divider, and some old sofas from the 70s, and a couple of Spark workstations. And that's where this 5-member team focused very heavily on their project of working on both the architecture and VLSI implementation of a processor. And at that point, we were working very long hours. Primarily, our motivation was that we wanted to get done in our master's program and not stay for a PhD. So the hours were very long, but fortunately for me, the office was in close proximity to my residence and married student housing at UCI. And that was fortunate because it allowed me to get home every couple of days to see my wife. But really, actually, joking aside, that really didn't happen until I started Broadcom. Then it was every couple of days. In graduate school, I still got home, every day, pretty much. So Broadcom was, at that time, a startup in or later, as I started Broadcom, it was a startup in Los Angeles. And that was a very challenging time. But what I was able to achieve with Professor Bagherzadeh and his leadership, and with a tight group of engineers, was the successful completion of that program within the master's group. And we did deliver the first LSI silicon at UCI of a processor. So that unique experience directly enabled me in the early part of my career to go out into the industry and lead new chip technology developments. So I'm very thankful for that. There's a Chinese proverb that says, "Teachers open the door, you enter by yourself." So thank you, Professor Bagherzadeh and UCI, for opening the door for me and providing not only the opportunity to pursue an advanced degree at UCI, but in doing so, providing a lifetime of opportunity. And in conclusion, I want to make a very special thank you to my wife for living in student housing, going on dates with me in the student center, and for all your years of love and support. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2020.
I think you undersold the date in the student center. That was a really happening thing. So, well, thank you, John. Next up from ICS, I have the pleasure of introducing Rosalba Gallardo Valencia. Can we please hear from you? And also, a big round of applause as she comes up for her mom, her sister, and her niece, who flew all the way here from Peru to hear her speak.
Thank you so much. We'd like to start congratulating all the inductees to the Hall of Fame in 2020. It's for me an honor to represent you here. You are an amazing group, and I am very honored to be part of your cohort. Thank you, UCI and ICS, for this recognition. I am forever grateful to UCI. 14 years ago, I was a software engineer in Peru, and my dream was to do my PhD in computer science in the US. At that time, it was a crazy idea that some friends told me that it's not possible. On March 26, 2006, my life changed forever. I received the acceptance letter from UCI. Actually, the email was from Chris Bolzer, who is here in the audience. I remember that day because my life changed so much after that. I was admitted to the PhD program in Information and Computer Science. But not only that, I also received a fellowship and support for my tuition and my expenses. That was the only way I could make it to the US. So when I received that letter, I decided to pack my whole life in Peru in 2 suitcases, say goodbyes to my whole family, and I started the journey for my PhD in the US. The journey was not easy, was actually very challenging. English was not my native language. It was hard. And it was thanks to the support of my amazing advisor, Susan Sim, who is here. She flew all the way from Canada to be with me today. Thank you so much. She offered all the support I needed, and in all the senses. So when I came here, I was very concerned about my English, and at the end, together we published 2 books in English for our research. So that was for me something amazing. Thank you so much, Susan. I also wanted to thank Sylvia, who is also here. She was my homestay mother. She hosted me when I arrived here to the US. In my 3rd year, I received also a fellowship, the Miguel Vélez Fellowship. That helped me a lot, and it was actually a surprise for me. It was $10,000 that I received. I didn't even know that my amazing advisor applied on my behalf, so I received that. Those were really hard times, so I decided to use that money to buy a car because I didn't have one. It took me 2 hours to go to IKEA using 3 buses. It was really hard. And I also decided to buy a ticket to go back home and see my family. That was very helpful, and I made a promise myself that someday I will return that favor, and I will create my own award or scholarship. And I'm so happy that last year in 2019, with the help of Debbie and Andre, we created the Rosalba Gallardo Graduate Award, and that was to celebrate my Latino heritage. And the first recipient, Adriana Mesa Soria, is here with us today. Adriana, I'm so proud of the work that you are doing, your research. It's very promising, and also it's so great, all the amazing work you are doing for the underrepresented communities, and I cannot wait to see all the results of your hard work. UCI not only gave me degrees, my master and my PhD, it also gave me opportunities that I could not have had without being here at UCI. I remember working very closely with Professor Taylor, who is here too, and with Debbie on being the chair for the student volunteers for the International Conference of Software Engineers, which was in Hawaii. That was my first time in Hawaii, and it was an amazing experience. Also, it opened many doors for me. After completing my PhD, I received an offer for a position at Intel, so I manage software quality globally for Intel, and now I am at Google. That was one of my dreams. I also created a nonprofit organization called Peru SV, with the goal of closing the technology gap and the knowledge gap between Silicon Valley and Peru. We organize a yearly conference that helps with that mission and also inspire thousands of Latino kids and young people to inspire and to pursue careers in technology. For me, family is very, very important and is very key to my success and well-being. My family has sacrificed a lot to invest in my education, so I wanted to thank my whole family, especially my mom, my sister, my niece, who are here today, who flew all the way from Peru to be with me. And also my cousin Lorena, who is here, who has always been like super supportive, and the most amazing cousin ever. Thank you. Thank you. I really want to thank you. I would really want to thank UCI and ICS to transform my life forever and helping me to amplify my voice to inspire other underrepresented communities and Latinos and women to pursue careers in technology. Congratulations to all, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Rosalba, and also thank you for creating the fellowship. What a great honor that is. And we're now nearing the end of our program, and for those of you that are alumni or thinking about being an alumni, any chance you can to connect with fellow students you get more than you give. And whether you have financial means and you want to give, or you simply just want to be a mentor to somebody, I guarantee you 100%, I've been doing it for years now, that the joy you get back from helping others makes you want to do it again and again. So on that note, from tonight, we will have pictures and the bios and everything will be up on the website. Thank you again to the Discovery Cube for this amazing location. And don't forget to look for something happening in November and December. And to take us out, I'd like to invite up to the stage our Associate Deans of Engineering for a toast. So come on up. We got Ken, Effie, and Fadi who are going to make a toast for us.
So as Tim mentioned, our illustrious dean has accepted the position of the presidency at George Mason University. And we have all had the pleasure to work with him now for several years. I used to vacation, I grew up in Arizona, and I used to vacation every summer in Southern California. And perhaps you can understand that every summer, when it was time to go back to Phoenix, this was an occasion of some sadness. And my wife finally gave me the great wisdom that it's way better to focus on the fun that you had on the trip than it is on the heat that's waiting for you at the other end. And so to that point, I think it's important that we focus on the really amazing things that Greg has brought to us during his time in leadership. And I would like, there'll be many such occasions, but I'd like to just focus on the enormous growth that he's overseen. So he's, in his time, we've grown by over 1,100 undergraduate students, over 200 graduate students. That's way more students for you to hire and way more professors to go out and educate in the future. And he's done that remarkably by attracting a faculty that looks more like America than it did before and demanding more of them, and shown that as a result, you can have high standards, high achievement, be more inclusive, and have better results. It's a remarkable legacy that will be with us forever and for which we're very grateful. So as we close out with a toast, I'd like to ask Dean Marios to come back up to the stage. I'd like to invite Greg to come join us so we can have a toast. Tim, if you'd join us. So, Greg, we know you have the foresight to know where you're going. We wish you the hindsight to remember where you've been and the insight to not go too far. To Greg.
Well, you know, I couldn't let you go without one more resounding zot, zot, zot. So, if you don't mind, all rising if you can. And you know, remember how we formed the anteater? That's not an anteater, that's a wolf pack. You must curl your fingers so you form a snout. And on the count of three, we will have three resounding zot, zot, zots in succession. All right, you all ready? Yes. 1, 2, 3. Zot, zot, zot. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Washington. Thank you, Dean Marios. And on that, I have the pleasure to announce that dessert is open. Make sure you mingle, have some great dessert, and we will see you next year at whatever location happens. So thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
But wait. Before we all go for dessert and coffee and enjoy all the fellowship, let's give a big thank you to Tim for emceeing this event. Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you. Good night, and we'll see you again next year.